it's SXSW, so southbysouthwest.getify.com. And then the link down here, the demo of the comments thread. So what this demo does, and I encourage you, by the way, if you're on your laptops, even your phones, you probably should look at your phone. I encourage you to kind of go and see this, and it's cut off a little bit on the side, I apologize, but I encourage you to go ahead and just log in and start working with this, because as a live demo, we'll get live data from everyone. I don't have a login system with passwords, but basically you have to log in to create a session, so I'm going to type in my name and my website URL. You can do the same. And I'm not going to log in for just a moment, because I'm sure several of you are already going to be logging in. I'm not going to log in right now, but I just want to explain a little bit what happened. So this page, this request was routed to some server-side JavaScript that said, I need an application. So I have an application on the server that's called comments.php. It's a very simple, thin thing. It talks with the database, and I'll show some code of that in a moment. But again, all he did was make a request to the database to say, were there any comments that were already added to the database? Do you already have an active login session, et cetera, et cetera. And he sent that state and that JSON data back to the view engine. The view engine had a template that it rendered this page, and it sent this HTML out as the response to my initial web request. But now, once I'm in the page, there are several things that I can do. For instance, I can come up here and I can click Change Image. And that made an AJAX request back to the server, but this time, instead of doing the templating for changing that image on the server, all I asked for was for some JSON data back. I said, give me the ID and the URL of a new Flickr image to show. And I returned that, and I did the templating in the client side. So the templating, again, worked exactly the same either way. Same thing with login. I'm going to do an AJAX login. I'm going to send the request to the server using an AJAX call. And I'm going to get a response back that hopefully allows me to log in. And then it's going to display a new thing in this action box area. It's going to display an add comments box. So it's going to do that template in there. And you can see how quickly those things are running even on the conference Wi-Fi. So I'm not introducing layers that are slow or non-conforming. They execute sometimes faster, but generally as fast as any architecture you're typically used to working with. And again, I can type in something like hello conference and submit my comment. Again, that was totally AJAX. Now, some of you maybe have already added in your comments, and I don't see those yet. And I could have created a much more complex demo, but if I refresh this page, it's going to make another request to the server. This time it's going to find some data, and it's going to return those probably. I'll see, so a bunch of you have already logged in and added their comments. And what you'll notice here is that everybody makes their comments on their different images. So if I didn't like this image and I wanted to make a comment on a different image, I click that change image and go for it. So again, real simple proof of concept. I just want to show you a little bit of code to demonstrate. So the templating, this is maybe we can take the lights down just a tad more if this is a little hard to read. Is the font big enough? Do I need to make the font bigger? Probably okay. All right, so this is an HTML file. Again, there's nothing special about this file, and there's nothing special about its name. There's no conventions or anything. So I'm simply going to, actually I need to be at the top of the file to show you. So here I'm defining that I'm going to extend a master template file. I'm not going to show that one, but it's the basic stuff that has my doc tag and style tags, things like that in it. So I'm extending that file with this file, and that simply means pull in all that stuff, and I'm defining template sections here, so I'm giving an ID, a content, down here is another section, main image, and so forth, and I can use those subtemplates at will. Here you see a little bit of logic. This is, again, presentational logic. There's no math or function calls or whatever. But I'm inspecting the JSON data structure that I got, which is always called data, and I'm asking, were there any comments that were sent in? If it's an array, and I'm using the truthy value of JavaScript to say, was that array, does it have some elements in it or not? And I'm simply selecting the comments template if there was, and the no comments template if there isn't. So it doesn't get any more complex than that, and I'm of the opinion that all complex templating can be done with that approach. Again, another one over here. I'm asking if there was a user ID returned in the data dictionary. If so, go ahead. That means I'm logged in, so show the add comment. Otherwise, show that I must log in. Here I'm using those two that I just declared. So at runtime, it's going to decide and pick which template to use. And the @ symbol says use a particular template. Or I can do it statically here, like I'm simply saying the @ symbol So looking at main image, real simple. We have data.image.which is a numerical index for it. That's I use to make sure that when you click change picture, it does a new picture each time. The image source and so forth. So dropping in values is simple. Using subtemplates is simple. Defining template sections. There's a template comments. There's a raw section. You can look on GitHub if you want to look. The last thing that I wanted to display or to talk about was looping. So here in my comments template, I've selected this because I have a non-empty array, and I'm going to simply iterate over that array and do something every time for every element in that array. In this case, I'm going to call up to another template and drop in some information. So the template for each LI is right here, and you can see again just dropping in comment text and URLs and things like that. Back up here for just a moment, just wanted to show this is a common thing that you want to conditionally decide to display some errors. So right here I'm asking for whether or not I need to include a subtemplate. And here I said display error equals did I get an error message in my response? If so, use that template. And I didn't put an otherwise. Otherwise just be empty, so don't even use a template there. No need to display an error if one did not occur. So that's the templating syntax of Handlebar. Again, some of you may like that, some of you may really hate that syntax. That's okay. But the key here is that it uses JSON data and it spits out HTML. And it does so in a completely portable and dry way so that you can use those same templates on browser and server. So if you have one of those already or you have an idea for one of those, great, go for it. Otherwise, take a look at Handlebar. So how do we use